You know, if you were at Circle K right now, you could pop in and grab something fresh and delicious to eat and be back on the road in no time. Yep, you'd be moments away from sinking your teeth into a juicy bacon cheeseburger or a mouth-watering brunch burger on a brioche bun, both hot and fresh out of the oven. From pizza to sandwiches, whatever you're in the mood for, it's all fresh and it's all fast at Circle K. Food offering varies by location.
It's time for the shop report with
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. NFL holdouts. Are they becoming a thing of the norm? The Rich Paul rule. Interesting tidbits. And a lightweight, how can I say this? Double move, so to speak, by the NCAA. And, of course, in the continuation of our upcoming NFL season, we preview the NFC North. But up first, I ask this question. Is it Brady or the system? Joining me on the program today to discuss this and our other topics are two newcomers to the party, as I like to say, two of my coworkers, or should I say sports colleagues, RB and Shabani. What's up, fellas?
Oh, what's going on?
It's all to the good. I actually should have just called on one of y'all at a time, but it's all good. And, of course, none other than my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
Always honored to be on the show and crashing the party every now and then.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a party crasher. I used to do that a time or two myself. And then last but not least, my man who's been in my corner since day one, my number one. My number one. My man who played for Eddie Robinson. That's right. Legendary Eddie Robinson at Grambling, former Browns offensive lineman with Bill Belichick, of course. None other than, or should I say. And then made the move to Baltimore as well with the Ravens. Herm Arvey. Herm, what's up, man?
Yo, man, that was a mouthful. Yeah. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All right, fellas, let's get this thing started then. So we asked this question first. So this is the first subject or topic of the day or the show. Is it Brady or the system? RB, I'm going to start with you because you and I were having this conversation not even a week ago. I believe, wasn't it about a week ago we was having this? Is it Brady or the system? Wasn't that we was talking about that? Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, about a week ago. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I said it was Brady. And then at the same time, I'm not saying that the system don't have. I think that the two, like yin and yang, they came together at the right time, so to speak. And here's why I say Brady. In addition to our conversation that we was having, if it's the system, then please explain to me how Romeo Crennel, Josh Daniels. Unfortunately, for my man up north, his Detroit Lions, Matt Patricia's starting to look like Eric Mangini. If the system is everything that most folks think it is, then the system should be able to transfer. And it has not. Unlike Andy Reid and some other Bill Parcells and some of them other guys, when them coaches come off their trees, those guys usually have some sort of success. Then on the flip side, we talked about Randy Moss. We already knew Moss was who he was before he ever got with Tom Brady, because I'm pointing out to the fact that Tom Brady would take less and make household names out of it. He's done more with less than anybody else that I can think of at that position and probably in any other sport here in recent memory. We already know what Randy Moss was before he got with Brady. He gets with Tom Brady and becomes one of two wide receivers in NFL history. Not NFL in the last decade or the last 2 decades. NFL history with the most touchdowns in a single season, 23. Second to him, only Moss, is Jerry Rice. So, RB, is it the system or is it Brady?
It is 100% the system. Absolutely, without a doubt.
No
Belichick,
way.
Bob Kraft, the whole organization. It's not Brady. It's definitely the system. Absolutely, 1,000%.
Okay, well then, okay.
If Brady, well, we wouldn't even know him to be the Tom Brady that we know today. He would just be a just a guy. He would be just a regular guy. That's why Belichick wanted to make that point by trading Tom Brady or trying to trade him a couple of years back for Garoppolo to show, like, hey, I'm the system. I'm the guy that's pulling all the strings, and we can let Tom Brady go, bring in a younger guy, similar to the Bledsoe Brady situation, and we keep this ball rolling. So I think Brady. I'm not even going to start that GOAT conversation today.
No.
I think Brady is the most accomplished because of the Super Bowls that he won, but would he go down as one of the greatest? I don't know about that.
Ooh.
That's the most accomplished, yes, but would he be in that conversation with the Montanas, the Marinos? No, I don't put him in that conversation, no.
All right, that's
but
fair.
Absolutely, 100% system.
Absolutely the system. All right, Shabani, what'd you say? Is it Brady or the system?
Well, it's definitely if you check your history on the New England Patriots, it's definitely Tom Brady.
Okay. Okay. And you say that why?
Not to mention, first and foremost, he's a Michigan guy, so let's go blue. Let's not excuse that. He's a Michigan guy. So
right.
The history of Brady. Brady took over. Took over mid-season for Drew.
Hold your thought. Yeah, for Drew Bledsoe, he did. Hold your thought. Fellas, y'all got to understand, me, Shabani, and RB, we have every now and again, we have what I like to call little sports powwows. And they get to the point so much where once we get to going, after a while, it's a crowd. The supervisors don't like it, but we don't care. We still do what we do. You know what I'm saying? We dap up, and then we dip out for another powwow later on down the line. But go ahead, finish your thought, man.
In the history, Brady took over for Bledsoe mid-season.
Yeah.
They were so impressed with Brady, he led them to a Super Bowl, 2001.
True.
They traded Bledsoe.
Yeah.
What was Bledsoe able to do after that? After that, his career was 500. Not to mention the other four starting quarterbacks. Let's talk about Matt Castle. Let's talk about Garoppolo. Even Jacoby Brisket had a time after that.
Yeah, Jacoby Brisket. I like
Castle
that. Yeah.
Matt Castle had a 10-5 record with New England.
Brian Hoyer too.
What was his record? Right. What was his record since then?
That's fair.
Exactly. Now, that's what I'm talking about.
He couldn't even take New England. He couldn't even take New England to the playoffs. That shows Brady. Brady's a winner. You get him in a position to win, and he's gonna make it happen. He showed that in the last Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he showed that against Atlanta too. Let me get Double J's thoughts on that as well, and then we get Herm's thoughts. And then we come back to you, RB and Shabani, for show. Double J, what say you? Is it Brady or the system?
I'm going to actually go with Brady here, and the reason why, we both understand that, look, Belichick had, 22 years in the league. His most successful seasons came with Brady. His least successful seasons came without him. So, again, if it were simply as easy as to say, one driver gets in and then the other driver gets out, and you continue to move forward, we wouldn't be having this conversation at this point. Additionally, if you look at Brady is the most has the highest winning percentage of all time. Again, now to his credit, now Belichick does from a coaching standpoint as well. Mm-hmm. But you look at players, I'm going to give you Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, the list goes on, and instead of saying Randy Moss is why Brady's successful or Gronkowski is why Brady's successful, it's time to start looking at Brady is why Brady's successful.
That's fair too. Very good. That's a fair point. Herm, what about you, man? Is it the system or is it Brady?
I'm going to straddle the fence here. I'm going to say it's a combination. I think that the success, you can attribute it to both the system as well as Tom Brady. I have gone, I think on record before a while, by not giving Tom Brady as much credit as he definitely deserves. And when you are a leader of a franchise, when you are of a Super Bowl winning franchise, it's easy, and I don't care who you are, to get the big head.
Gotcha.
And for him to allow for the Patriots to be in the position to manage their salary cap the way they have, he's never gone out and sought to be the top quarterback, which he deserved to, and he could have easily have done that. I think by him managing that,
you breaking up a bit, Herm.
the way he works. Am I?
Yeah, just
Can you hear me now, guys?
Yep, that's better. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, he manages his workload and the way he works in the off season, and all of that is paramount. Now, on the flip side, as far as the system, and again, you can't just say it's Belichick. I think it's overall. I think they've done a stellar job in terms of managing that organization, allowing players to not exceed their potential in terms of, when to release a guy. Which
Got you.
Belichick actually has done that throughout his head coaching career. He did it in Cleveland. Unfortunately, we didn't, meaning, Cleveland didn't get a chance to see that all play itself out.
Right.
But if you go back as far as then, he was doing that then. And we were able to, I think Belichick came in 91.
Yep.
By 94, we had made the playoffs, and we were rolling. Unfortunately, in 95, you had to move the situation, and things kind of fell apart. But that's my take on it. I think you have to say both deserve a hell of a lot of credit, and they still got that thing rolling. So that's my take on it.
That's a good point. You see, and I kind of lean towards that as well, because as RB, when you and I was talking at the job, I mentioned, I got a couple books over here written by Mark Bavaro and Lawrence Taylor, and we have not you and I, but Herm. We had Brother Richard, and even before Double J, when we had Gully or whatever online, we've had this discussion somewhat before. But it's always good to revisit, I think, because it's new perspective. But I got a couple of books over here written by Taylor and Bavaro, and they speak, even Bill Parcells, they speak. All I'm going to say is Belichick's name is all up and throughout the book. from every book I've read so far, but the two that I have of my own. All of them throughout the book. So I don't knock the system, but I'm not going to say that it's the system so much as, as to diminish what Tom Brady has done. Now, do I take some issues with the things that have gone along, throughout their Super Bowl runs, and, when it comes to the Patriots in general, the Tuck rule, I'm with Woodson on that, and the whole changing of the I forget it. I think it was they was playing Kansas City, and one of the Kansas City players dived at his knees or something. The next thing they had a rule change about where you can hit the quarterback at and all that kind of stuff. I get it, so it's a few things that stand out to me that like or that, like my man Herm would say, things that make you go or if it walk like a duck and quack like a duck, the rest, Herm. But yeah, I'm just saying it's both, man, because again, if it were the system, then we would see evidence. And Josh McDaniels had some success when in Denver. Wasn't he the head coach of Denver? Yeah, he had some success. But to me, the system would carry in other places when these guys go get these other jobs. And even I'm not even saying as head coaches, as coordinators and so on and so forth. I just think that it's a big drop-off when they leave from up under that tree. You know what I mean? And you'd have to see, this system would have to have been played itself out in some other places. But RB, we'll give you the last one.
James.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, James, real quick. But when that system goes to other places, are the players buying into the system?
Well,
you got to also ask that
that's
question.
A question, too. Yeah, that's a good question, too. Yeah, who was that said I was thinking that, too?
RB, I'm like, do they play by into that system?
Yeah, all right, that's fair. Well, that's fair. I can't argue that. But again, I do. I'm with Herm. I think, and I told you this too, RB. I think it's a combination of both. I just think sometimes, and the reference I used was, you remember that movie, The Perfect Storm, with Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney and all of that. Sometimes, man, and it's not often. I mean, I guess we probably could count on one hand the number of times it's happened in whatever sport, where that marriage between that player who's an extension of and that coach, it just come together, man, which I'm kind of, and we'll touch on this a little bit too, man. We got 3 hours to go, so 2 hours actually.
Jay,
go ahead. Who is that?
Hey, Jay, RB.
Go ahead.
I was trying to listen, and I was listening to what Shabani was saying when he was stating those points about other quarterbacks having some success in New England and then going somewhere for a different team.
Okay.
So that's what my argument comes in, where, okay, say if Brady was on Arizona or Miami or Buffalo or another organization, we should have the same success. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can ask that too.
I say system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Brady's only been in New England. We have seen Tom Brady outside of New England have success. So that's where my argument say, okay, it's the system. Because when them guys are there, they have success. And when they leave from there, it's all bad when they go to a different organization. So let's say they send Tom Brady to San Francisco and Garoppolo stays in New England. So you saying that Tom Brady is that great that he takes Frisco to the Super Bowl? Or does the system help Garoppolo get New England back to the Super Bowl?
Well, I'll say this too.
That's
at the same time, you can have a system, but what makes a system, and Herm, you can chime in on this if you want to as well, is the execution by the players. Because
the execution? Go ahead, my bad.
No, you good. But see, because because no disrespect to Belichick, but Belichick can be Belichick and Belichick can have a system. But if you don't have a guy who understands how to go out and execute it, because let's say Matt Castle went 11-5, right? He did in that system. But now you really got to lend to Brady a little bit more, because what Brady done did in the system far exceeds what any other quarterback done in the system. So it's got to be some of Brady. Because if it was the system and not so much the player, then Matt Castle should have went 12-4, or at least 13-3, or at least won a first-round playoff game or something. You see what I'm saying? Or get to a Super Bowl at least. Because any other quarterback that has played in that system under Belichick prior to Brady, or maybe, I can't say after Brady because it ain't here yet, but I'm just saying, then they should have been able to at least maybe not win 6 Super Bowls, but they should have been able to do, if it's the system, what Brady has done to some degree. You see what I'm saying? So when those other guys have played, it shows that they're, yes, the system, because they've had some success. But compare that success to Tom Brady's success in that system. It pales in comparison.
Something I want to just point out is if you look at college football, this is very much a microcosm of the debate that we're having now. There's a reason why, a legendary coach like, we'll say, Nick Saban, why he wasn't as successful at Michigan State versus he is at Alabama. Or potentially, every few years, he doesn't win a national title. And is that because, the system's broken? No, you could say it's because of it was an off year due to recruiting. Got you.
So then it comes down to player execution, too. And, Herm, let me ask you, and then, Shabani, you can have your last say before we move on to the next one. How much does that weigh in that whole quote-unquote system argument, the player execution? Does that weigh more than it be? That's what makes the system? Herm?
Well, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up just a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, it definitely plays into it. I mean, they want to, you probably have heard. I'm sure you've heard the Patriots talk about identifying players to fit within their system.
Got you.
So they go out and they try to draft certain. They bring certain guys in that may not have worked at other teams, but they brought them there, and all of a sudden their game was taken to another level.
Got you.
It comes down to, like I say, execution or the players. You got to have players. And if you took the entire Patriots team and shipped them over to San Francisco, like we were talking about Brady being traded there, then you probably would see that same level of success. You can't have an extremely good player go to a bad team and expect. That's why it's a team game.
Got you. The
Patriots have players that have bought into the system. They feel confident. They're playing without overthinking, because that's a problem also. And at the end of the day, it comes down to confidence. Those guys believe.
Got you. All right, Shabana, you get the last word on that.
I have to agree. I'm a firm believer of coaches coach and players play. You can have a system, and no discredit to the system and its value, which it has shown in other quarterbacks having a certain level of success. But when you talk about the level of success that Tom Brady has had, and the winning and the clutch moment and things of that nature, then that totally lends to Tom Brady, the player.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I love everybody's points on that, because they all fair points. You get what I'm saying? I just still say that I think that it's 50-50. I do. I think it's half Brady, half Belichick. You know what I mean? Even though it's before Brady ever came on the scene, like I said, these books I read, they was way out before Brady was on the scene, and they all mentioned Belichick more than enough. I got tired of reading his name in these doggone books. I was like, I had to close the book, like look at the cover, like, is this a book about Belichick or is it a book about Lawrence Taylor? My gosh, which one is it? So, I mean, they're all fair points, but I just wanted to get that out there because it's an ongoing debate, not only at the job, fellas, y'all already know, but it's on Facebook all over the place. I'm in a Sports Global group, and my gosh, it was a thread that went on for a week about Brady or the system. But I digress. All right, let's talk about these NFL holdouts. And again, RB, Shabani, we've had these conversations too, in particular about Zeke and what's going on with him and the Dallas Cowboys. Herm, you and I go way back when we talk about players and players getting paid, especially when it comes to football and so on and so forth. And I got to thinking, man, and it's just a thought. I don't know if it will work or not, but I want to toss this out here. A lot of times when these players hold out in the NFL, the question is always about the money that he's missing out on. It's always about the money. I turn on Facebook whenever it's with Le'Veon Bell's situation. Man, he a fool. He turned down $25 million or whatever the case may be. And I'm saying to myself and some of these people, maybe the dude is just smart enough with the money he already got that he can afford to hold out. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying? Everybody not chasing the money or driven by the money like that or whatever it is. And see, most of the folks that's responding, yeah, y'all couldn't afford to leave such and such $1 million on the table or whatnot because you're making $19.95 or $9.95 an hour. I get it. But you can't say that about these dudes because this dude is in another arena. So I'm wondering, in preparation for a holdout when it comes to, again, NFL players, Herm, do you think that if players prior to maybe getting drafted, because I saw it in the NBA and I can't think of the player's name, and I was trying to look it up so I could use him as a reference, but players negotiating their own contracts, so to speak. In other words, to eliminate the agent, because I don't know what the monies are that players pay agents, but I'm sure it's a sizable or significant amount. Do you think that with better education or financial education, so to speak, that players could eliminate the need for an agent, thus or therefore having the monies, so to speak, when it comes to possibly holding out, in the coffers that would, they'd be comfortable, if that makes any sense whatsoever? Herm?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yep.
So that point is really not a factor.
Okay, gotcha.
There have been guys who have negotiated their own contract. There have been guys who have not had agents represent them.
Okay.
When I was playing,
I lost you again.
Is what you paid an agent.
Can you repeat that, Herm? For whatever reason, when you kind of.
I apologize for that. How about now?
Yep.
How about now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good. Come on, it's a family show. You good?
Yeah. For whatever reason, well, back when I played, agents were paid 3 to 4%.
Okay. Now is that
I don't know what that percentage is now, but I would assume it's lower.
Okay, so stop right there. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
When you say 3 to 4%,
that's not.
Hold on, Double J. Hold on. Hold on, Double J.
Okay.
Hold on. Herm, is that when you say 3 to 4%? Is that like an attorney, like you would for an attorney, kind of like an annual fee or a monthly fee or a quarterly fee, or is this a one-time fee or a one-time thing?
No, it's whenever you sign your contract, you are getting you're signing a signing bonus, right?
Okay.
So the agent is getting 3 to 4%.
Okay, got you.
Okay, of that percentage.
Got you.
Let me think, boy. It's been a long time. And that should also carry over. I could be wrong, but that should also carry over. It doesn't impact like workout bonuses, roster bonuses,
okay,
things like that.
Got
but
you.
Your annual salary, it does.
Got you. Good point.
Okay.
Got you.
So in the grand scheme of things, and I could be off on that. Again, it's been a long time. But when it comes to holding out and having monies, players should be okay. But there are guys a lot of guys who live above their means.
Yeah.
So to think along those lines, like maybe I should put some of this money away in the event I have to hold out.
Mm-hmm.
I think most guys are under the mind frame that it's not going to be them, which again, that's not a way to think.
Got you.
If I got to chime in on, if we're going to have this conversation about holding out and what people are talking about in terms of the players, you are absolutely correct. They always are talking about the player. Like the player is wrong. The player has a couple years left. Let's talk about Zeke. The player has a couple years left on his contract. He should honor the contract.
Spit it, Herm.
Well, how many conversations do we have when that same player has 2 years on his contract, he gets hurt, and the team is not on the hook for that? Are we having the same arguments about, the team needs to pay that guy that money? No, they're not getting it. And that's the other thing. People are counting folks' money, and they don't even understand. When you hear $100 million, that's not guaranteed in most cases. So it's $65 million, whatever. That number's growing. Okay, great. I applaud that. But at the end of the day, it's not what you think. So just sit back,
You still there? I think I lost him. Herm, you still there? We might be having some technical difficulties on this end, but it's all to the good.
Hello?
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello? Okay. How much of that did y'all hear?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No.
I don't know what's going on.
No, it's all good. It's all good. This is why we do what we do here. Yeah, we
But
heard.
I'll turn it over. I don't know where we got lost, but go ahead. Somebody else's turn.
No, it's all good. Yeah, you were saying.
Well,
that,
you
go ahead. That's Shabani.
Yeah, you left off on the counting other people's money and not knowing what's really going on.
Yeah.
Okay, let me finish out. So the most important part about that is, when a player has leverage, they need to utilize it. Okay, anybody in their right minds will utilize leverage when they have it. And in the case of Zeke, I feel he has the leverage. So use it.
Good point. Double J, you were going to say something as well?
Yeah, I was just going to confirm that the NFL only allows a maximum of 3%. And I've had personal friends that have signed their own deals with or without an agent. But again, it's, when you think of the Drew Rosenhouses and or somebody like Blake Barak from the Institute for Athletes, very different approaches. So it just is going to vary on their negotiated rate.
Got you. RB, what say you about all of this?
And hey, one last thought. Let me just say this one last thing. A player really doesn't need an agent for negotiating his contract. It's pretty much you have a list of every player's contracts, what they signed for, who they are, where they slotted. So it's really not rocket science when it comes down to negotiating a player's contract. Now, some of the other things, maybe being creative and throwing in some bonuses. I was watching this thing on Amazon regarding the Arizona Cardinals a few years back. And why am I drawing the blank? The defensive end that used to play for Indianapolis, they picked him up.
Dwight Freeney?
The spin move.
Dwight Freeney.
Yeah. So Dwight, when they picked him up, they signed him for the veteran minimum. But he had negotiated in his contract that he would get $100,000 for every sack that he got. Well, the guy made about $1.3 million for the year, but a small portion of that was his minimum, his veteran minimum. So, try to be a little creative. And then again, a player can do that too. But I'm just saying, for the most part, agents don't be mad at me, but for the most part, players can do this stuff themselves.
Got you. RB, what say you?
I totally agree with everything everybody just said. I'm all for the players getting their money with or without an agent. I'm about to get that money. Get that money. You got to hold out to get your money, because I know that a player's shelf life as a player is real short, but they got to maximize. So you need to hold out, get your money, get back on that field, get back on that court, that baseball diamond, do what you got to do, maximize your potential, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with billionaires. This is, they got it. They just trying to do the little negotiation thing to kind of make it a way where they ain't being totally taken advantage of. But they're billionaires. They got the money. And these players, eventually, they get paid, and everything seems to work out. So I'm all for the players getting their money. I'm totally behind them 100%.
Yeah, and my thing, too, when it comes to the players and their money and so on and so forth, I've had this, like I said, we've had these conversations before at some point or another, individually or together or whatnot. This is the player's livelihood. The dudes who writing the checks, these teams is their luxury. You can't compare that. But folks so quick to jump on the player's side. Oh, he ain't worth. Is he? I'm sorry, man. I'm and because I know Herm, we've had conversations. When I see this whole thing about, oh, he ain't worth that, I'm saying, why? Why ain't he worth that? If he worth whatever they willing to pay. And I think Jerry Jones, this is just me now, just me talking. I think they giving Zeke a little rest, man. That's really what I think. No way Jerry Jones go back down this road. He been down this road before already in 1993 with Emmitt Smith. They did win the Super Bowl that year, the Dallas Cowboys did.
But
go ahead.
Hey, James, can you hear me?
Yep.
But that's hindsight being 2020. That's hindsight being 2020. He did go down that road.
Okay. So
let me clarify.
Okay.
If Dallas had won those few games and his teammates, the guys like Charles Haley and them weren't flipping out, he probably would have stuck to his guns, meaning Jerry Jones.
Oh.
You follow me?
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, Dallas lost the first few games. The team was in uproar, so he had to, again, Emmett had the leverage. Emmett felt he had the leverage to begin with, but it just mounted and it grew to the point where he had to cave in. In this situation, okay, and again, if I'm Zeke, I'm staying in Mexico. I'm just, I'm working out. I'm doing what I got to do to keep myself ready, but I'm not budging.
Got you.
And if you guys heard, I don't know if you saw, but Dak turned down $30 million.
Yeah.
Okay. And people up in uproar. People all upset, talking about, oh, he doesn't deserve 30. Well, how does he not? He's a starting quarterback. He's in Dallas, like y'all say. Dallas is the most. It's worth the most money, right? The franchise is worth the most money, so they're not all equal.
Mm-hmm.
So if Russell can get 35 in Seattle, Dak said, I want 40. Now, it might come down to 35, but he sure enough deserves 35 in Dallas. Again, when you location.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing in real estate.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I can't argue that. What say you, Shabani? What you say? Is this about this whole Zeke thing, especially in the case of Le'Veon Bell too? Would you say that as well?
I definitely, I'm in agreement. These players, they provide a service. They put their bodies out on the line. Their money's not guaranteed. And so, blow out a knee, team can cut them, the scenarios as such. Hey, put yourself in a advantage situation and take advantage.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, so we all in agreement. You too, Double J. We all in agreement that, in other words, well, let me put it out. Let me pose it this way then. Does Zeke play this season, Double J?
Well, I think the answer to that really comes down to what Jerry Jones, is he going to let history repeat itself? Because I think Zeke is prepared to sit out.
Whoa. What about you, RB? You think Zeke prepared to sit out?
Zeke is prepared to sit out.
So there you go again, huh? But, a lot of folks are saying, and it's a Dallas Cowboy fan down at the job too, and I won't mention his name here, but he's saying, man, they need to go ahead and get rid of him. And I said, why? He said, man, because he's doing too much off-the-field stuff, and that's why they think that Jerry playing hardball with him. What you say to that, Shabani?
Well, I mean, I know as a negotiating point, you would try and use that as leverage as an owner, against the player. But when you talk about on the field, Zeke deserves everything he's got coming.
Yeah.
Stats and everything speak for itself in Dallas. In Dallas, they can't afford to do anything with him. If you want to just throw your season to the wayside, don't pay him. Let him sit out. No victories coming that way. So then next year you revisit the whole thing. So you're in a winning position. You got a window of opportunity. The Dallas defense is better. Offenses look like it might be rolling. Hey, don't play yourself.
I ain't mad at
Play
that.
the man.
I ain't mad at that. All right, fellas, we're going to move right along. Things are moving real good here, I see. All right. Well, let's now talk about this whole Rich Paul rule thing, the NCAA. We done had these conversations more than one occasion. But here, the NCAA, of course, well, now they kind of walked it back a little bit. They required, at one point, it was not even a week ago, they required agents have a bachelor's degree, got to be certified with the National Basketball Players Association, got to have professional liability insurance, and they had to complete an in-person exam taken at the NCAA office. Now, before we get to the changes that the NCAA made, RB, let me ask you, is that asinine, bass-backward, or what? Just the idea to come up with some stuff like that.
You know what? Pure foolishness. I don't even know what to say behind something like this. I'm at a loss for words when I see the story come across, the TV screen. I just don't even know how to process it, and I'm scratching my head like I'm still baffled by this whole thing because they make it an issue, and it went on for maybe about a week or 3-4 days, and then the NCAA backpedaled on the whole thing. So now they tried to it's just, oh man, I don't get it. So I like to hear what the other gentleman got to say. I'm still confused by the whole Rich Paul rule.
Yeah, initially I thought it was some sort of backlash, but from the NCAA side that was kind of carry over, and thought maybe Adam Silver might do something in response or in regards to this whole deal with how Bron and them, and the Lakers or whatever. I'll just say that how they tried to go after AD initially the first time. It was like the way y'all went about it. Y'all put everybody on blast. So then when they backtracked on it, well, not the way they put everybody on blast. But then I had a conversation with Brother Richard, and we was talking. He's like, "Nah, man." He said, "They losing their grip, so to speak, and they trying to regain or maintain whatever their grip that they had, and they losing it, so to speak." And I said, "Okay, well, right, all right." And then, of course, a couple of days after the fact, they come back and say, "Nah, you don't have to." You don't have to have a bachelor's degree because that's really what made it asinine to me. Despite all the other stuff around it, that's the one thing that stood out to me was this whole idea you got to have a bachelor's degree. You know what I mean? And then Rich Paul had some words that I thought was pretty poignant too when he came out and said, they just trying to change the game, so to speak. But Shabani, I'll let you weigh in as well. Before the NCAA did their little backtrack, what say you to this whole you got to have all the stipulations they put forth?
Well, I did a little research on it, and this was new information to me. I just thought it was okay, Rich Paul, NBA affiliated. But then when the NCAA got involved, when the NCAA gets involved, I just turn my head because the whole thing is a farce. Talking about amateur sports and everybody but the players getting paid. I mean, that may not, and you're trying to tie in the agents and credentials and degrees and things of this nature to tie in with all of that. It's just another money grab to me. So the NCAA, I really don't give too much credence to because they're full of it. So, that's really my take on it. What can they do to a Rich Paul that's already established and, he's got his thing going on and everything like that? It just seemed like some crazy idea that somebody came up with, didn't think too much about, and now they backpedaling, and it's going to die down. So
it's all good. Double J, what about you?
Well, as somebody that was going to represent Kevin Jones at one point in time, keep this in mind, I was 18 years old. I shied away from it because I was told you had to have a law degree. Now, I have a degree, of course, today. Here's the thing. In soccer, they, somebody like Neymar, whose contract was one of the largest in all of sports, his dad created a management company and represents him. So really what this rule was in place for is, in their minds, from the NCAA, to not let the inmates start running the asylum, meaning if I'm your best friend and I've been growing up with you since we were 6 years old and you make it to the NBA and you want to help out your friend, well, guess what? Start a management company. I'll give you the funds to do it, and guess who's going to represent me? Well, you are. And so by putting that focal point on needing a degree, it was meant to eliminate that opportunity to many. And again, it prevented me from doing it firsthand. So I totally could see through the BS that the NCAA was trying to do, amongst others. And as you guys just pointed out, how could you hurt Rich Paul? They weren't trying to hurt Rich Paul. They were trying to hurt others that were attempting to become a Rich Paul.
Okay, got you. So they was using him as the, what do you call it? Like setting an example, so to speak?
Absolutely. The line was drawn in the sand that they were not going to allow somebody like him to slip through the cracks again.
Got you. All right. Herm, what about you, man? What you say about all of this?
Follow the money, man. You follow the money, you find the culprits. Okay. I'm shocked that the NCAA has a say-so in the matter. I understand it pertains to guys who are exploring whether or not they're going to go to the NBA. which, okay, I get it. So they would have a say-so. But the bachelor's degree, what are you saying? That people with bachelor degrees are on the up and up? They have the best characters? I mean, you've seen guys with bachelor degrees, law degrees, whatever, take people's money and keep it pushing, you know? So it's like that's ridiculous. And if you have an example, okay, if you've done it before, okay, then you have precedence. But if you don't have precedence, you can't just all of a sudden make it up. That's my thing on that.
I'm with you on that.
And then lastly, I feel is the agents who have degrees who may be behind the push because they're getting outmaneuvered and outplayed by Rich. And whomever else there is out there without a degree.
Oh, got you. Okay. All right. Well, I'll be... well.
And you see that? That goes right into my point, that if you're your company X, Y, and Z, and you're not as popular or as notable as, Rich Paul is, or Drew Rosenhaus or Jay-Z, I can't get these players if they're letting their buddies or if they're going with the most notable guys around. How can I eliminate that and force them to come to my way, as Herm just pointed out?
Hey, and Double J, you just brought up another name which people are overlooking. Jay-Z doesn't have his degree either, at least not to my knowledge.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And he reps players also. I think he still reps players, right?
Absolutely, he does. He actually just formed. He made some news today with in agreement with the NCAA of all people.
Yeah, the NC2A need to focus on paying these college athletes, not this rule.
I agree.
I was wondering, is it more about Rich Paul, or is it more about Uncle Dennis with the Kawhi Leonard situation? Does that play a part in why all this is going on also? Because the way that was handled and him being a family member, does that play something into it also? Because you would think...
I'm sorry. I think it's a culmination of it all. And you got agents who are not who feel they're not getting their fair share, which, hey man, the game has changed. So it's time for you to do something else. How about that?
Yeah. At the end of the day, man, the NCAA is archaic. I said a while ago, I wished that these guys the universities and colleges could police themselves. Why are they even in existence? Well, I can't even say why are they even in existence because, they've been around since forever and a day. But it makes them look bad because let me give you an update on the whole thing. That's why I said we're gonna talk about before they made they moonwalked. Based on the update now, you no longer need a bachelor's degree, but you still need NBPA, National Basketball Players Association certification, only, so to speak. And I didn't hear anything else about having to go to what do you call it? This class or any of that other stuff that they was talking about. And I'm saying, okay, yeah, got you. Yeah, right. NCAA.
Barbershop J.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do Barbershop J.
Yep, I'm here.
Do you not think? I think that's I think that's BS. Like, and you got to call it for what it is. Do you think that the guys who were the players who were considering, okay, I'm going to consider going with you, and if things change, I'm going back to school. Do you think those guys are not certified agents? Like, why throw that out there? Like, oh, well, they got to be. Well, they're going to be regardless.
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day,
I think if you took a deeper dive, that's a non-factor.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's some people say that too. You know, I've heard that as well. You know, we was talking about it in the shop or whatnot. You know, and they got my man from Channel 5 was up there. You know, Frank Wiley, and yeah, we've been having that conversation, man. I don't see. Does this put the NCAA in such a light that more players would, and I'm just talking about basketball, football, it don't matter. Well, I can't say much for football, but for like basketball, a lot of players are not going to go to college. RB, you think?
I think it's split. It's split. You're gonna have more guys going forward if they don't change the one and done rule. You'll see a lot more guys going overseas for that 1 year and then waiting a year of eligibility and going straight into the NBA draft. If the NCAA don't tweak it soon, you're gonna see guys go overseas to become successful, make a little money for that 1 year, work on their game, and then they'll declare for the NBA draft that next season. So we could see a trend starting real soon.
What about you, Shabani?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, that's been going on, you know what I mean? So it's just sometimes it just takes a couple of notable players to do it, and, you know, other guys seeing the success of it and saying that's a more viable way for me to go, you know, instead of even dealing with school, period. I mean, a lot of guys, even if you got the one and done rule, those guys aren't really, if they know they're at that stature, possible draft pick high, they're not really entertaining school outside of the mandated, first quarter, first semester or something, where they had to have the grades in order to play the rest of that season, you know. But for the rest of that, it's like, okay, why even entertain that when I have this viable overseas or another league or even G League, which the NBA is trying to get affiliated and work something out with the NCAA, you know, just to eliminate that whole farce.
Yeah.
You know, the NCAA is just full of it. So that's you know, I mean, the opportunity they present there, they talking student athletes and all that. Come on, let's be real. The people that's on the inside, I'm only observing from the outside, but people from the inside really know what it is as far as student athletes and the criteria and, you know, all that stuff that goes on. So
yeah, and
aren't they already addressing the one and done rule? Like, isn't that going away?
Yes.
I believe so.
Haven't they already addressed that?
Yeah, it is.
No.
Right. So again, this conversation that we're having regarding the agents and the requirements and so on and so forth for guys who, you know, they want to evaluate their chances of going, and they decide, you know, they want to go back. Okay, so be it. I get that. There is an attempt to protect the players because, I mean, there's a long running history on players being taken advantage of. But again, I don't think it matters whether you have a degree or not. You know, if you're a crook, you're a crook, regardless.
Yeah. Say you just a crook with papers. Saying that you're a crook, huh? Yeah, it's all to the good. Yeah, I think the NCAA.
You might have crooked your way to getting that paper.
Yeah.
Hey, you might have crooked your way to getting that paper.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, man, I think the NCAA's days are numbered. They got to be. You know, you're talking about a monolithic entity. I don't think nothing better describes the NCAA when it comes to being a monolith, so to speak. Yeah, they done deal. All right, fellas, we're going to move and keep on going here, as I like to say. We're going to now discuss this NFC North preview. All right, RB, you being a staunch Packer fan, you know, I want to ask you something a little earlier. We was talking about Tom Brady, the system and all of that. Could we say the same thing for Aaron Rodgers? Is it the
Aaron
system?
Rodgers is the most talented and the greatest quarterback I've ever laid eyes on. But he has been robbed because of horrible coaching, inability to, I don't know what to say, pay to tighten up that defense. I mean, the defensive coordinator was like 75 years old, Dom Capers. So you never really got Aaron Rodgers the defense he needed. So basically, he's the franchise. He's been carrying them on his back. And maybe in a better situation, Aaron Rodgers will have 6, 7 Super Bowls. But like I said, because of the system, it hasn't gone in his favor. So people are going to put, Brady ahead of Aaron Rodgers based on, like I said, accomplishments. But, it's, that's the way it played out. But, Aaron Rodgers is still great.
Yeah. So it's Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, can I pour some salt in his wound?
Yeah, a little bit.
Perhaps if he wasn't pushing to be the top paid quarterback, he could have better players around him. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, that's
which is what Tom Brady has done.
Oh, so taking the hometown discount or pay cut a little bit?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
No.
He said no.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is the only good thing about Green Bay. Everything else is all wrong.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Hey, I just had to throw that little
salt in the wound, man. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so I want to say that again.
Aaron Rodgers is worth every penny he gets.
Yeah, well,
y'all didn't watch the penny he gets.
I'm not disputing it. I'm not disputing his worth. I'm just saying at some point it comes at a cost, like it comes at a price, and I think that's what's overlooked with Tom, the mere fact that he has accepted less and not demanded more. It's allowed them to pay monies in other areas.
Yeah, and sure enough has. Shabani, I know you being a staunch Viking fan, I know you got something to say about all of that. Is it Aaron Rodgers or is it the system?
That I totally agree. I appreciate that salt. But we're not going to turn this into a Aaron Rodgers because that's the whole problem. We're talking New England Patriots, Tom Brady, greatness. And we're talking other teams. We're not talking about Aaron Rodgers, the individual. So let's stay focused on the player, the team, the Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions.
Yeah. And RB,
quarterback in the division. So how can we not talk about Aaron Rodgers?
I knew y'all was gonna get started, man. Herm Double J, y'all gotta excuse me, man. Well, this is what we do. When we going at it, when we doing our thing, man, this is what we do. They Aaron Rodgers.
I want the guy to continue. We get into Cousins of his track in a minute. So I want the guy let him talk.
He hasn't been able to lead his team to a division in the last 2-3 years. So, I mean, the talent is undeniable, but it's all about winning.
I'm talking about the one
and as Herm spoke. Evidently, Rodgers is not overly concerned about that because money is valued more, whereas the GOAT, the real GOAT, Tom Brady, has been willing to sacrifice money, which is, he's had a long career. He's going to get his money. He's going to get paid for the betterment of his team and to win Super Bowls. I'm just saying.
And it doesn't hurt that his wife's a supermodel bringing in tons of cash.
No.
I was going to go right on that point. When you got a wife that's making millions of dollars, sure, you can give a little family discount to the crafts, So don't you're forgetting that part now. Giselle making a nice little coin over there. So
you say Giselle Double J? You say?
What do they call it in the music industry? What do they call it in the music industry? Get it on the back end. What kind of contracts are those?
Absolutely, getting it on the back end.
Yeah, y'all hilarious.
Rodgers has Danica.
But we're not talking about Danica. We need to be talking about Kirk Cousins and his contract. We're not talking about Tom Brady no more. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins and his nice, hefty contract for those Minnesota Vikings. So, Benny, let's hear about that.
Yeah, well, we getting to that right now. We getting ready to get to all of that. But Double J, you go ahead and have your say. What you say to all of this?
Well, first and foremost, he needed to have a team around him. If I were to give you these stats, 4,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, and an average passer rating of 97.2, that usually screams an all-pro quarterback that, at the very least, led his team to a playoff run, or at least be playoff. And unfortunately, because the Packers were so bad across the board, that actually was a 6-9 team. And one, I'll add that in there. But, generally speaking, no other than Mike McCarthy, every first-year head coach for Green Bay has had a winning record in their first season. Additionally, unfortunately, the history votes against him, that being LaFleur, because none of those great coaches, whether it be Curly Lambeau, Vince Lombardi, Mike Holmgren, or Mike McCarthy, were able to be successful in getting the team to the playoffs in their first season. But none of those guys, I would say, would have a very ticked-off Aaron Rodgers in a revamped roster. So it'll be very interesting to see what we get this year because he is healthy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like 12-4 to me.
That sounds like what? RB, you got to speak up. Say that again.
That sounds like 12-4 to me.
Yeah, sound like 12-4. I got you. Yeah, I got you. So then let me ask this question now. In regards to the Bears and RB, I tell your boy, I'm sorry, man, for I wanted to let him in, but I knew this was going to be kind of like a closed session, so to speak. But is the Bears stock rising and the Packers falling? RB?
Repeat that one more time.
I said, you say I'm talking nonsense right now, huh? I said, is the Bears stock rising, but the Packers stock falling? You say repeat that one more time. Is that what you say?
According to the media,
yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, just from the, the stuff you read and see and so on and so forth.
Oh, I mean, absolutely, because the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and the coach is a little tense right now. So people are going to say that that could lead to unsuccessful season, and the Bears is trending up because of what they did last year, having Khalil Mack, and the coach is a pretty good coach, and they're on the right track. So. Yeah, the Bears are trending up. The Packers are slightly trending down because of the relationship between the coach and the quarterback. So, and then you still don't know what that defense is going to give you. So, yeah, Bears are trending up, and the Packers are trending down as of today.
Okay, gotcha.
As of today.
According to the national medias and so on and so forth, but not according to RB. You say they're on the come up.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, okay, got you. Double J, what say you? Is the Bears stock rising?
I think that the Bears stock has hit its ceiling and is on its way down. You look at the losses, everyone from Vic Fangio, and I think that's going to be actually the biggest, and he's not even one on the field. So losing your defensive coordinator which is really the heart and soul of that team, to go to Denver, in addition to losing half of your running game with Jordan Howard, that puts a lot of pressure on Mitch Trubisky. And let's face it, that guy got bailed out a lot last year. I'm just not a big believer in him.
Yeah, well, you're not a big believer in Mitch Trubisky?
Correct.
Yeah, got you. I figured that's where you was going. I should have muted you, right? I should have gave you the bail. That's what I should have did. I got the bill. I got the bill over here. I ain't had to use it in a while, Double J. Don't start nothing here. Herm, what say you? Is the Bears stock rising and the Packers stock falling?
I am curious to see how it all unfolds.
I am too.
I like the Bears.
Yeah, I do too.
I would agree that the Bears stock is rising. I'm a disagree. I don't think you said the Packers?
Yes, the Packers stock falling.
You said the Packers, right?
Yep.
Not the Vikings. Okay, my apologies. Yeah, the Packers stock is falling.
Whoa.
So I would agree with that. I thought you had said the Vikings, but I like the Bears. I like what they've done. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that their D coordinator is moving on or whatever happened in that situation that's going to change things that much, because you got to remember, Matt came into the season. He came into the fold late, so I don't necessarily attribute that to a coordinator in his scheme.
Got you.
I mean, the dude's a beast. He's an animal, so he's going to do what he has to do regardless of who the DC is. Now, the other pieces around him, perhaps, but I'm curious to see how it all unfolds. Don't slip on the little Mighty Mouse, the running back out of
Cohen.
North Carolina A&T, HBCU, baby.
Yeah.
That dude was an animal in college, and his role has increased as time has gone on. And Trubisky, this is going to be his make or break year.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying
I think
that as well.
I think he's going to step up.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that as well. And Shabani, I'm going to throw this one at you, even though I know, of course, you're the Vikings fan, and we can ready to get to some Vikings stuff here in a second. But looking at the Bears wide receiver, because we're talking about Mitch Trubisky, looking at the Bears wide receivers, you got Trey Burton, Taylor Gabriel, Marvin Hall, Anthony Miller, Cordarrelle Patterson. That's the one. And then you got Allen Robinson II as well. Could he be the difference maker for Trubisky in that offense?
Well, I really don't think any of those guys are going to be a difference maker consistently.
Is that the Vikings bias coming out, or is that just you talking football? Or you just
No, I'm just talking football.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
And then can Trubisky get them the ball? So, you have those things in question. The Bears last year had a solid offense, but they had a high takeaway rate.
Yeah.
So you talk 36 takeaways. That was the most since the 2015 Panthers, which they ended up making to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well,
that's going to be hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
So with that in tow, and then you begin to rely solely on your offense to carry you, then that looks like a step back to me.
All right, that's fair.
Because, offense can get you there, but you got to have that defense. The defense has to be present.
That's fair. I actually like Trubisky, to be honest with you. I liked him coming out of North Carolina, but not like I did Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. They all came out the same year, didn't they, RB?
No.
No? Where am I at with mine?
No.
Yeah, this is the senility.
No, year before.
Okay,
year before.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well,
Baker came out last year.
That's right, sure did. My bad. But I wasn't. Trubisky to me played a little bit better so far with his time with the Bears, his short time with the Bears, than at any time I saw him in North Carolina. But I saw enough of him at North Carolina. I was like, he's interesting. Let me keep an eye on him as things move forward, because Herm, my barometer. A lot of times I'm watching the TV, or it might look like I'm watching the TV, but the TV's more so watching me if I got a game on. Now, some games I'm all into, but some I'm just kind of doing other things. And when I hear a guy's name jump off the screen, when I hear announcers mention a guy's name more than 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I'll say, okay, now I'm paying attention. And the same thing was said about I could say the same thing about Mr. Trubisky when he was at North Carolina, and Khalil Mack when he was at Buffalo. So we all know how that turned out. I like the guy. I'm not saying that they're going to go to – because, they was one missed kick away from – ain't no telling what they could have done in the playoffs, because, Herm, you and I talked about when you get to the playoffs, you talking about that levels, if you want to touch on that again right quick. Like, you go through a regular season, it's this kind of intense. And then once you get to the first round of the playoffs, it's that kind of intense. You remember that conversation we had?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Preseason, regular season, playoff, and unfortunately I didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but You ratcheting up that intensity every level, and there's nothing that can be done about it. It's just natural. It just happens. Guys they understand what's at stake.
Yeah. All right, Shabani, we're coming back to you for this one. Now we got some Vikings stuff to talk about here. Case Keenum took the Vikings to the NFC Championship. My question for you and the other panel members today, what will Kirk Cousins do for an encore?
Well, it all rides on Kirk Cousins. There's no ifs and buts about it, huh? Yeah. They've shored up their offensive line, which was a problem for them last year. And we lost Richardson, but they got Anthony Barr back. So the defense, I believe, is still going to be solid. They're going to step up. And we got a few receivers that's making a little noise. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Kirk Cousins. Can he win the big game?
That's fair.
Not only beat the teams you're supposed to, the 500 and less, but he's got to beat the teams
that he ain't supposed to.
500 better.
Yeah, got you. Double J, what say you?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on this. You got to remember, this is year 2 of Cousins developing a rhythm with Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Of course, you got a nice, strong tight end with Kyle Rudolph and a great second-round pick in Irv Smith Jr. I think the most underrated move of them all was having Gary Kubiak join the team, which is going to have a strong play-action style offense, which, again, fits the core of that team. Additionally, Zim is entering, his 6th season with the team, and I think this is put up or shut up time. You look at it across the board. If these guys do it right, they're looking at potentially a date in February.
You know what, Double J? You steal my thunder every time we get here. You know what? Are you taking my show notes? Are you getting hold of my show notes or something? What's going on, man? I was just getting ready to mention Gary Kubiak. That was my ace in the hole. But, of course, you being the pilferer, nonetheless, just went on ahead and pilfered it like you done. I'm keeping account, of all the stuff you're stealing from me. And I'm just letting you know. It's adding up, buddy. It's really adding up. But that's where I was going next, of course. But let's let some of our other panelists here take a stab at this whole Keenum and now Kirk Cousins. RB, it's on you, because we will talk about Gary Kubiak here in a second as well. RB, Case Keenum took the Vikings to the NFC Championship. What will Kirk Cousins do?
Kirk Cousins will do exactly what he did last year, is let the Minnesota Vikings fan base down.
Man, he just comes so hard, man. He just so direct, man. But this is how we do at the job. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. We be going at it. It's so much fun. You just say he let the Vikings fan base down.
And I think people overlooking the fact that you got rid of Adrian Peterson.
But they got Dalvin Cook. But Dalvin Cook now is.
And Dalvin Cook has shown an inability to stay healthy. So now your running game is still in question. We don't know what can Dalvin Cook give you a full season. That's still in question. Now he developed the rhythm with the receivers, and they had a great season, and Kyle Rudolph and all that, but it didn't translate to success. So the running game is going to be a big part of the success and Kirk Cousins. And then the fact that he just hasn't shown, that winning, he don't have. I don't look at Kirk Cousins and be like, okay, that's the guy that can get you to the Super Bowl and win you that big game. I don't see that in him.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's going to be Minnesota to overcome the just the mediocrity of Kirk Cousins, and then the question mark behind the running game. It's going to be hard for Minnesota to win the division, make the playoffs, and keep that Minnesota fan base happy because Kirk Cousins got that big, huge contract.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, though, before we let my man Herm chime in. And I liked Kirk Cousins. I know what he did to the Browns a couple years ago. They kept Joe Gibbs was back on. Not Joe Gibbs. Who was it? Shanahan was back on the sidelines. One of them. Yeah, I think it was Shanahan. Somebody was back on the sidelines. It might have been Joe Gibbs. One of the two. But anyway, they kept running the same bootleg, and the Browns, for whatever reason, didn't. I mean, after the 12th time, still couldn't stop it. But anyhow, in his defense, somewhat, Kirk Cousins, there have been a few Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that you look at them prior to that season, and you would have said the same thing. Trent Dilfer is one of them. Brad Johnson was okay. Who else comes to mind right quick? Jeff Hostetler. Them the only three that come right off the top of my head, so to speak. You know, I am dealing with senility. Let me remind you all of that. But I get better with age, I guess. You know, it was the that's why Herm mentioned earlier, it's a team thing. Because you can put a good, solid special team defense and have solid, you know, offensive players or whatnot around a guy. You know, in other words, my question is, do you have to be a franchise quarterback or seen as such in order to get to and win a Super Bowl? Herm? Herm, you were still with us?
It helps.
Yeah, you said it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it helps.
It certainly helps. You know, but you know, in this case, I think their success relies on the running game, and no, you cannot put the weight on the quarterback based on his salary. I mean, hey, he deserved the contract, number one, because he bet on himself. You know, most guys would not have. He bet on himself, so
right.
He deserved the contract that he got.
Right.
But because of that, you do not base him being a franchise quarterback, all the weight falls on him. I don't see that in him. I don't see him as that type of a player.
Hold that thought. We got
Dalvin
somebody.
Cook is going to be your answer.
Hold on. Hold that thought. We got somebody else on the line. Who's this calling? And caller, what's your name?
Hey, this is D. Gully from Columbus.
Okay, wow. That's what I thought it was, D. Gully, because we don't usually let the callers in on when we doing this clothesline. That's why I got caught up for a minute right there. But, Herm, go ahead, Gully, before you went, have you been listening to the show? Gully, have you been listening to the show?
Just tune back in.
Okay.
Just tune back in.
All right, got you. Well, right now we're talking about the NFC North, and Herm was mentioning, I was trying to say mentioning and finishing up, all in one word, right? Double J, don't tell Brother Richard about this. But anywho, yeah, right. I keep telling y'all, man. Wait till y'all get to 50. Then y'all going to see what I'm going through. Then we're going to all be at Shady Acres together playing dominoes, I guess. I don't know. But, Herm, you were saying, so in other words, you think the Vikings, whatever success they have, or people who think they might have this season will hinge largely on Dalvin Cook and the success that he will have in the running game, or the running game success for the Vikings this year.
Yeah, I think they need to have a successful running game this season in order to fuel that offense. I mean, the quarterback, the receivers, they're established; they're going to be there, but they need a running game.
I'm with you,
which would help out the defense.
Yeah, for sure, no question. Go ahead, Gully. You go ahead and weigh in. What you say to that? Well, let me actually repeat the question. Give me a second here. Had to take a sip of water. Case Keenum took the Vikings to the NFC Championship last year. What will Kirk Cousins do for an encore? So, in other words, Case got him there, and a lot of folks ain't even saying nothing about
that.
Case.
Was actually 2.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was actually 2 years ago.
Okay, I'm sorry, 2 years ago. But, you know, he got him to the NFC Championship. So now, with Kirk Cousins, who, by all accounts, is way better than Case Keenum, shouldn't he be able to at least get them to the NFC Championship, if not further? Was basically the question.
Well, them getting there, I still think, to answer your question, I think it's no. And it's not because Kirk Cousins isn't an upgrade at quarterback. I just feel like in the NFC, in terms of a conference championship, I feel like there are two other teams that will be there. But if you're looking at to stick to the idea of we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings, I certainly think that whatever success they had 2 years ago, with a more complete or capable quarterback like Kirk Cousins, they should be able to at least make their presence felt, at least have a really productive season, and at least get into the playoffs. The idea of them getting to a conference championship, I think that's going to be a hard sell, because I believe that the Saints going to have one of those spots in the conference championship, and I think the other spot is not going to come out of the NFC North.
Whoa. We got a Packers and a Vikings fan on the show here today. Oh, man, them was fighting words. Not really. We just kidding here. I've heard some people say that as well. So let me ask this question. Where do the Lions fit in all of this, Double J? Are they going nowhere fast with Matt Patricia? You know, one of them apples off that Belichick tree?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not going to take us long to find out. I would say their toughest stretch is going to be their first 4 games going into the bye week, and I don't think this is really breaking news, but if they go 1-3 throughout that first 4, he will be fired during the bye week.
Whoa. You mean a Belichick disciple? Fired? No, say it ain't so. We've never seen that before, have we? And you know what, RB, I got another question for you. Something else just came up. I got another question for you off this Lions thing right here. But we're going to go to Shabani right quick on that one. Are the Lions going nowhere fast with Matt Patricia?
Nowhere fast. They reside at the bottom, so they're comfortable there. In this division, they're going nowhere.
That's not nice.
It's just that simple.
It's just that simple right now. But I got a case for my man Matthew Stafford. I don't know why he gets so much. I can't even say this is a family show. Why he gets so much stuff. You know, like when you go to the zoo and you go visit the gorillas, sometimes they throw stuff at people. And I'm just saying, I don't know why Matt keep getting so much stuff thrown at him. But, RB, I'm going to ask you as well. You know, what's going on with the Lions? And they going nowhere fast with Matt Patricia?
The Lions are currently preparing for the 2020 NFL draft.
Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice. But it used to be a time, but that's all the Browns ever prepared for is the 2000 ... draft.
Right. Just see what you got and prepare for the draft.
Okay.
So they'll be in the top 5.
Herm, you want to weigh in on that as well? What's your feelings about Matt Patricia and the Lions?
My thoughts on Patricia and the Lions. I don't have any.
It's all good. Double J, I hope you ain't taking none of this personal, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all love on the program. You know what I mean? My man Double J, he up there in Lions country. You know, he a Michigan guy and the whole 9 or whatever. We're not about to do this Michigan-Ohio State thing. We don't do that here, okay? All right? We can't have them Bruce Lee.
Different day, right.
Yeah, that's a different show, different day. We're not about to have this Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris moment with the kitty cat, meow, you know, and then everybody fight. Nah, that's not what we're doing here. Not right now today. So, Gully, I'll come with you with it right quick. What's going on with that?
Hey, Barbershop J.
Yeah.
Barbershop J.
Yes.
Barbershop J. I still have nightmares, man, in 95 going to Detroit and Barry Sanders running up and down the field on our defense.
Oh, that's right, Herm. Yeah, that's right. You was a part of that. You was a part of that. It take a lot of courage to mention that on the program. It did on the P-rogram, as I like to say. Yeah.
Hey, ringside seat, baby.
Yeah. Gully. So, what about you? I mean, what's going on with the Lions and Matt Patricia?
Again, I don't see much of anything when it comes to the Lions that make me think that this year is going to be a turnaround. He did seem to provide new energy, but what I can tell you is, little anecdotally, I do remember there's a certain national host who took a lot of credit for Matt Patricia changing his hairstyle or changing his hat. He used to wear his hat backwards, you know. There's a certain national radio host that took a lot of credit for speaking about that negatively to the point where he started turning his hat around. That, to me, spoke ill of Matt Patricia in that the voice that he hear outside not being able to allow him to do what he does best in the way that he want to present himself. Therefore, I think that's going to affect the team negatively. I don't see them moving anywhere. If you let commentators direct how you change how you
dictate.
wear your hat.
Yeah.
How does that bode well for your ability to get these players on one accord and to get them to perform better? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good
Hey,
point.
Gully, I'm going to piggyback on that.
Hold that thought.
Of, an interview where he got really critical of the media about him being too relaxed at a press conference. So you guys can definitely Google search that one too.
Yeah. Well, I'm with Gully on that in that regard. And Herm, I'll let you catch out because I thought I heard you getting ready to chime in, and you can. Just let me say this right quick. I don't follow nobody else's path, man. I cut my own and leave a trail. If I'm Matt Patricia, and I've never been an NFL coach, NFL player, or nothing like that, because Herm, I want you to hear right here and now, whenever I'm discussing football and I mention your name a few times, I defer to you on that. You played in the league, you know what I mean? But I am saying this, I'm my own man, and I will not allow somebody in the media dictate how I go about handling the day-to-day or who I am and whatnot, because that has a reflection on the day-to-day operations of running a football team. It's got to be. You see what I'm saying? Because you got 53, however many guys is in camp before that, looking up to you, so to speak. You the head. And they see you flim-flammy about how you operating because of something somebody else said. You get out your hookup, so to speak. I'm not changing up, man. We gonna ride this thing together. That's why I love Freddie Kitchens. I'm not gonna even lie. But anyway, we're not talking about the Browns right now. But we're gonna have to throw a little bit in at the end. Yes, we are. But yeah, no, and I didn't know that, Gully. I'm glad you brought that out, man. You see what I'm saying? Because yeah, that's not a good look for Matt Patricia. No, it's not. And I appreciate you mentioning that as well, Double J. That's not a good look. I'm not feeling that. But I'll say this right quick. My point going back to what I said to RB, I'm gonna hit you with this one. We talked earlier about quarterbacks and systems and so on and so forth. Brady, or is it Brady, or the system is what we asked in particular. Matt Stafford. Now move your Vikings and your Packers, move the Packers and Vikings fandom to the side. Put it on the shelf just for a minute. Could he survive in Bill Belichick's? What would just hypothetically? Because I'm just hypotheticals here in this case. What would Matt Stafford do in Bill Belichick's system? What would Matt Stafford do right now as the Browns are constructed? What would Matt Stafford do with a lot of these? Because Matt Stafford ain't had nothing. A lot of these other guys we talking about at least had, I remember one year, excuse me for going on and on, one year Peyton Manning, when he was still with the Colts, every last one of his offensive skill position players had over 1,000 yards in that same season. He broke a touchdown record, too. I think he threw for, 55 touchdowns or something crazy, like 50 at least. I know that year. Matt Stafford ain't had nothing nowhere near what Matt Ryan didn't even have. But yet and still he get a bad rap, Double J. I'll let you have your say, but not just yet. RB, what's the deal? What's going on with that? Why Matt Stafford getting a bad rap, man? And we just talking football right now. Why he getting a bad rap, man?
You talking about the Matt Stafford that played with Calvin Johnson, Megatron?
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Thank you.
Hold it. I know y'all. Hold on. I know y'all ready to jump on me about why I'm saying that, and I appreciate y'all for doing it. But y'all got to know, if you know me, you know I'm very well prepared for whatever. I'm trying to tell you, Warriors, come out to play. Yeah, it's me. I'm that 300 by myself against everybody else. But here's what I'm trying to get to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm talking about that Matt Stafford. Because that Matt Stafford, last time I checked, when did he ever have he had a Calvin Johnson, true of that. Now, what else did he have?
Golden Tate.
Oh, wow. Really? Come on, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you what he didn't have, though, is a running game. Generally, or an offensive line. He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league, and additionally had not had a 1,000-yard rusher. I think there's been 3 since the turn of the year 2000 in the Lions history. Okay,
so stop right there. Now, here's my question to everybody on the panel. I was waiting for somebody. See, I threw something out there, and I was waiting for somebody to come back with the bait, baby. With that being said, name me a Super Bowl winning quarterback that did not have I won't even say stellar, but a running game to match being in that Super Bowl or getting to that Super Bowl?
Are you going to tell me that LeGarrette?
The 2011 Green Bay Packers.
Really? Gully, I should have hung up on you, is what I should have did. That's what I should have did.
With Aaron Rodgers, yes.
That's what I should have did. RB, you signing off on that too? You over there smiling. I can see it now. You smiling?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was getting ready to go right there.
Yeah, you was getting ready to go right there. Okay, so the 2011 Green Bay Packers, they had, who was their running back?
That's the point. We don't know them, so obviously they had somebody filling them jerseys.
Okay, so then,
but we don't know who they are. That's to your point.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but let me ask you this then: Did the Green Bay Packers, was Aaron Rodgers the quarterback at 2011? Maybe so. Okay, anyway, yeah. I'm being facetious.
Look, come on, don't be disrespectful.
Yeah,
don't be disrespectful.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Did the Packers get to the Super Bowl?
Don't be disrespectful. You know the Packers won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. So y'all got me on that one. All right. Y'all got me on that one.
You know what?
Hold one at a time. Who's this speaking?
Hey, James.
Go ahead. That's Herm. Go ahead.
Yeah. On the subject with Matthew Stafford, you know, you guys brought up Calvin Johnson. And I was just doing a little research. Calvin Johnson, throughout his career, only had 1 year where he caught over 100 balls. Did y'all know that?
I didn't. We do now.
And he retired in 2015. Heck, I didn't know it either. I just, like I said, did a little Google search.
Okay.
He retired in 2015, right?
Uh-huh.
Matthew Stafford's numbers, 2016, 65.3% completion, 4,327 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Passer rating, 93.3. 17, 65.7. 44.46 in yards, 29 TDs, 10 interceptions, 99.3 passer rating. 2018, 66.1. 3,777 in yards, 21 and 11 TD interception, 89.9. I mean, this dude's been consistent regardless of who's been there.
That's my point. I don't understand.
Yeah, nobody's debating if you would thrive under Bill Belichick. I mean, every Lion does. Look what Eric Ebron left and became a Pro Bowl tight end.
Stop it, Double J. Cut it out. All I'm saying at the end of the day is, why is that's what I should have flat out asked you all. Why is Matt Stafford getting the short end of the stick when in these conversations?
Because he's Phillip Rivers in the NFC.
He's making $27 million a year, and that's preventing him from having the right athletes around him.
Okay, well, they can't. But who?
Heck,
I'm not mad at Matt.
That's $8 million. That's $8 million less than Russell Wilson.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. I'm not mad. I'm not. So, Double J, are you suggesting that Matt Stafford take a pay cut so that the Lions? Because that's
absolutely. I think for his sake, and if he cares about legacy at all and wants to remain in here, and maybe he doesn't, I wouldn't blame him because of the same reasons you're pointing out, is that he's not respected here any longer. And, again, it's going to get very ugly very quick. And, again, it's not necessarily his fault. He's had more coordinators than I can count. And as Herm pointed out, he's been a consistent quarterback. But, the Lions were plagued for over a decade, if not longer, in trying to have someone that was Matt Stafford's caliber. Now they got him, but they can't get anybody else around him, and they can't figure it out. The Lions need their own segment, their own independent show for people to figure out why does God hate the Lions?
Yeah, and you know what, to add insult.
It sounds to me based on what we're saying here, even though I was rather critical of Matthew Stafford, it sounds to me like to a lesser degree he has the same problem for his career that Barry Sanders had. Also has a Lion, where as talented and consistent, more so than talented, consistent as he was, there was never enough of a complete organization around that type of consistent, high-caliber talent to make anything of it. So I guess maybe we put them into a box. Maybe some of the criticism is unfair because, like you said, Herm, you brought up some pretty consistent numbers, but it's just the fact is maybe he's not while he might not be the marquee quarterback, he's probably a quarterback with another franchise. He would probably be at that elite level because he'd be in more elite games, more conference championships, more divisional round playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is Herman. To me, an organization's success is top down. It's top down. So I don't know who Detroit's ownership. I don't know if it's changed. I don't know what it is. But to say that he's making too much, I mean, his number is now actually getting closer to Brady's number, which is that conservative area. 27 is now considered conservative. So that's no longer an argument in terms of, well, he needs to take a pay cut. He's actually underpaid now. So they got to raise the roof, basically. They got to raise up everybody else around him.
Yep. And that's really what my point was.
You know,
what I mean?
and that excuse, if that's the excuse, I don't follow Detroit, but if that's the excuse that the organization or what's being said throughout the area, well, that excuse no longer
it don't carry no weight no more.
Can float because it doesn't carry any weight anymore. You know, I mean, you got the money. What are you doing? How are you spending it?
That's the key.
Exactly, Herman. We if you look at who's in charge of this, I'm 50 yards from Ford Field right now, actually at Comerica Park, and again, it's been that everything you both between Gully and yourself pointed out that it's a top-down approach and that it starts higher than that. That's why Cleveland's been able to turn around in the manner that they have. We've attempted to bring in, the old Patriots general manager. That's who's running the show. Obviously, you see a Patriots guy. You've seen, if you look at the off-season acquisitions, they're all former Patriots for the most part. So they're trying to duplicate this system yet again. And, like I said, it's going to very much be boom or a very, very ugly bust that you'll want to tune in for, by October.
Yeah. And last, I was getting ready to say, to add insult to injuries, so to speak, I don't know his first name, but last name Curse, I believe. Some guy Curse. Didn't he break his leg or got his leg broken in half or something? Something bad happened to a guy, Double J?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that doesn't bode well.
Oh, from Seattle.
Yeah. And he was supposed to be a key component for them this year, wasn't he?
Absolutely. You talked about, who else Matt Stafford had around him. That was somebody that was supposed to be there, and he's gone too.
Yeah. So
before the season starts.
And speaking of injuries, right quick, I know we touched on this a time or two before. We've had previous shows or whatever, but I just cringe when I hear, especially when it comes to football, a guy can't stay on the field, or he injury prone, or he always seemed like that bothers me, because I don't know who we were talking about the last show we did. We kind of mentioned this as well, and one of the questions was I forget who the person was, and I got my notes, but I wasn't expecting to go back into my notes. But my thing was, the knock on him, is about his injuries, but how can you mention that or say that without giving some consideration to the fact or the nature of the sport? Sometimes I not as much as I used to, of course, but I'm watching the Skip Baylesses and all of them, man. They so quick to say, "Oh man, he stay hurt. He gotta stay relatively healthy." Man, dude, don't be so quick to. I had to turn it off. Like, look, man, if they was playing badminton, okay. If they was playing t-ball, okay. If they was playing tennis even, okay. Basketball even, okay. But football, let me repeat, and let me remind those. Not just
James.
Yes.
James.
Yep, I can hear you.
Yep. Barbershop. Can I weigh in on this first?
Yeah.
This is Herman, man.
Yeah, go ahead. Say your piece. Go ahead.
Listen, man. 'A player doesn't go out there to get hurt or, looking to get hurt or whatever. It happened.
Right.
And regardless of the sport, and it's like you mentioned the media and whatever, but it's everybody. It's everybody. Even within organizations, they fall for the okie doke. And if a player starts to, he can't stay on the field, then that conversation starts to permeate, and you can feel it. You might not hear it, but it's being said, but you can feel it. You can feel it in the coaches. You can feel it in the ownership. It just floats throughout the organization. Okay? And then you wonder why a guy doesn't want to come to the training room or the facility when he's hurt. Because the last thing he wants is to be around and basically being a pariah.
Got you.
It's horrible. But to your point, like, you talk about all guys getting hurt. Like I was watching I watch a lot of this stuff on Amazon, man, and the Panthers, they were featuring them last year. And the tight end from Miami, Olsen. He broke his foot. He came off of a broken foot. He came back, rehab, whatever, got back, was ready to go, and tweaked it. Thought he broke it again, but he was able to come back maybe after 6 weeks. All right, fought hard, worked his butt off to get back. Came back for maybe a game or two. Boom, went. Rest of the season out. So you're to tell me that this dude wasn't committed? You're to tell me this dude wasn't? I mean, you saw what he can do. He's a perennial Pro Bowl guy. But because of what happened with him, you're going to throw him out to the scraps, and you're going to say, "Oh, well, he can't stay healthy," where he's given all he got to get back.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, the stuff is. I mean, people really got to really put themselves in a person, in a player, in this example, in a player's shoes before they open their mouths.
Yeah, that'd be my thing, man. Football is war. Every down is like combat. Man, I remember once just playing down the man when I was a kid. I was playing with some older boys at the time, probably like 12, 13, playing with some 20-something-year-old dudes. Man, a dude laid me out. And he was like, "You okay, little man?" That was my first taste of a concussion. He's like, "How many fingers I got up, man?" I was like, "Tuesday." He was like, "Yeah, you done, man. Take him home, man. Go take him home to his mama." You know what I'm saying? I was done. You good job, little man, for trying to get out here. Yeah, man. So we talking about dudes 300-400 some, well, not 400, but look like they built like 400 pounds, and they crashing in each other, man. I'm not mad. Even if I'm not mad at a guy. I talk about a guy's performance all day, every day. I will. But when it comes to that injury thing, man, when it comes to football,
in some cases,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. And in some cases, it doesn't even. It's not even about a hit, man. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's football for you. Yeah, hey, Herm, I tell them, man, we out there at the training camp, man. You should seeing things up close and personal, and you get a different perspective. That's all I'm saying. It's an appreciative perspective. Is what I'm trying. And I was just, by the way, I was watching that Browns-Jets 86 divisional playoff game, and Herm, if I get a chance, man, I'm gonna have to write it down on my calendar while we on the subject. Actually, I'm gonna get you this book, man. I'm gonna try to send you this book. You got to text me your address and all of that stuff down there in the bayou. I'm gonna send you this book Bernie wrote. You heard Learning to Scramble? Did you know Bernie wrote that book, Herm?
I have not, but I'll check it out on Amazon Prime.
Okay, well okay. If you got the Prime, yeah, man, you need to check it out because Bernie is breaking it down, man, and that's I want the inside stuff. You see what I'm saying? Because then a lot of stuff.
By the way, that was a plug out. By the way, that was a plug out to Amazon. We, a little marketing dollars, a little advertising dollars. We'll take it.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it. It's all to the good. That's right. GHA Technologies. That's what Herm is into now. The bartering and trading and selling of computer equipment and things of that nature. You can just
no, man. I'm talking strictly. I'm talking strictly podcast right now, man.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, well, hey, you know,
sponsorship dollars, man.
It's all good. I ain't mad at that either. All right, this is the last one we got for today's show, fellas. I appreciate all of y'all for being on the program. I really, really do, man. We had to do this roundtable thing a little bit more often. My cat Shabani, of course, and RB. You know, we do the sports powwows.
Yes, sir.
But RB, we're gonna come to you. What one game this season decides the NFC division winner? Giving it some thought, huh? Yeah. That's tough to come up with, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's a little.
It's that last week of that season. It's that Minnesota, Chicago.
That's where I was going.
Green Bay.
Yeah, that's the one I was going for too.
When it just comes down to, because the record's going to be close. It's going to be close between them three teams, and it's going to come down to that last week, and that's going to decide probably the division, who get that first round bye or who get that first home wild card game. So it's going to be the last week of the season.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Shabani, what about you?
Yeah.
You in agreement?
Yeah, it usually comes down to the last week of the season. Now with the Bears in play, before it's come down to Minnesota and Green Bay, whoever wins that between those two, head up. But with the Bears in play, it's going to come down to that last week.
Yeah, I got you. Herm, what about you, man? What one game this season you think Bears, Vikings, Lions, whatever, decides the NFC's division winner?
You're saying the NFC as a whole, or
no? I'm sorry. I'm
the North.
NFC North. My bad. Yep, NFC North. My apologies.
The North. I'm gonna say the head-to-head matchup between Chicago and Minnesota.
Yeah, that's kind of what the general consensus is. Everybody thinks it's going to be Chicago, Minnesota. You know what I mean? But I'm with RB. I don't have a disdain or nothing for Aaron Rodgers. I just be messing with him about the Aaron Rodgers thing because he is an Aaron Rodgers. That's his dude. And I like Aaron Rodgers too. But I'm tell you, man, I'm with Stephen A. too lightweight. He a bad man. And I wouldn't count him out for nothing because you remember a few years back, well, more than a few years back, before Elway got Terrell Davis, you know, he pretty much had marginal players. I mean, the three amigos and the T.O., I forget Ricky Jackson. I forget the other receiver's name. He had a nice trio of receivers. But that running back, man, so it was basically Elway getting him to the Super Bowl every year. And then you could see why he needed a running game because once he did get to the Super Bowl, he got waxed up pretty good, him and the Broncos. So, Aaron Rodgers is that guy. He could get him there. Like I said, people picking the Bears and the Vikings, and rightfully so. But, I wouldn't count out Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't. What about you, Gully? And then we'll get to Double J before we get on out of here. What's that one game in the NFC North?
Well, Week 17 is when the division plays each other. And the Bears do have the Bears and the Vikings. The Bears are
at Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears are at Minnesota. And then the Packers are at Detroit in Week 17. I think the division is going to be decided before then. So I really think that these games here for the NFC North will just maybe it may be just where the wild cards are, to allude to that book where the wild things are. But yeah. I think maybe the matchup before that would be probably Week 13, because I think Week 13 is going to be most pivotal, and that's when the Bears have the Lions, and they have them on Thursday night.
And the
Bears are in Detroit on Thursday night. I think by Week 13, things are going to be where they need to be.
That's interesting, too. Double J, you got the last say. Holla at me.
Yeah, because I believe this is Minnesota's division to lose this year, and I think Green Bay could make a push. And same for Chicago. I actually am going to say it's going to be the Bears visiting Green Bay. So going to Lambeau, a 1 o'clock game on December 15th. And I believe, if anybody's going to challenge Minnesota or Minnesota splits up, it's going to leave the door open for one of those two. And they may take each other out in the process.
All righty then. I'll say I think it's going to be that Bears-Vikings too. I think that's how it's going to play out. But again, don't discount out Aaron Rodgers. Fellas, I want to thank you all for joining me on the program today, man. Much love, and I appreciate it, man. It was good stuff, as always. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network. You go to the search box and you type in the Shop Report. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, and, of course, via email, theshopreport365@gmail.com. And you can go to our Facebook fan page, The Shop Report, and leave us messages, any topics you want to discuss, whatever the case may be. It don't matter to me. Leave a word. We appreciate y'all. And if that don't work, Google it. For my guest, RB, Shabani, the sports colleagues, and as always, my man Double J from up north, D. Gully for chiming in as well, and last but not least, my man Herman Arvey. As always, man, it's a pleasure talking to you all. Fellas, once again, I appreciate it. And for all those who follow us on social media, we say thank you for your support. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to The Shop Report. And remember, next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!
If you were at Circle K right now, you could pop in and grab something fresh and delicious to eat and be back on the road in no time. Yep, you'd be moments away from sinking your teeth into a juicy bacon cheeseburger or a mouth-watering brunch burger on a brioche bun, both hot and fresh out of the oven. From pizza to sandwiches, whatever you're in the mood for, it's all fresh and it's all fast at Circle K. Food offering varies by location. If you were at Circle K right now, you could pop in and grab something fresh and delicious to eat and be back on the road in no time. Yep, you'd be moments away from sinking your teeth into a juicy bacon cheeseburger or a mouth-watering brunch burger on a brioche bun, both hot and fresh out of the oven. From pizza to sandwiches, whatever you're in the mood for, it's all fresh and it's all fast at Circle K. Food offering varies by location.